Brace yourself, this is going to be one massive video. We're talking about 10 new things you did not know about Fallout 76. From everything from mutations all the way to train stations, to the loot system. Then we're going to be talking about traps, diseases, nuclear codes, and so much more. So a lot of really cool details in this. If you do enjoy this video, I never asked for this, but hit that like button. Would really appreciate the support. But welcome back, my fellow Vault Dwellers and Wasteland Wanderers, to Open World Games. Remember, if you are new, smack that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notification icon to receive my videos just like this one. I cover Fallout 76, and I'm covering Red Dead Redemption 2 as well. But also follow me out on facebook.com/openworldvideogames for daily live streams. But yeah, let's get into this right now. So the first thing I wanted to talk about were mutations. Now, of course, as you guys may already know how they work, you'll become radiated in the wasteland, and then you may end up with a random mutation. But let's say you don't want those mutations to be random. Well, this is really cool find by Oliver. He says, you can buy mutations. I found this in a secret area. Not gonna spoil anything. And let's pop this open here. Big screen. He shows how, yes, you can actually buy these mutations here. And it says it grants you the bird bones mutation if you do buy this. But look at the price. The price is pretty steep for sure. So this is like a secret shop that he has discovered in the game. Now, I'm going to try to discover where the shop is for you guys as well. I'm going to ask Oliver where he found this, but I don't know if you guys want that spoiled or not. This could be a really cool kind of late in-game type thing you could really goof around with if you have like way too many credits to spend. But yeah, that's really cool to see that you can actually buy mutations in the game. Now, let's talk about train stations, shall we? So, let's move over to some new footage here. So, you can approach train stations and, of course, trade items at vendors, and then also access your personal stash as well, which is super helpful. But check this out. There's also a map located at the train station here, and if you do actually mark these pins here, actually highlight over them and activate these pins, it'll say map updated, and actually update your map with the locations of the other train stations. This is invaluable simply because it gives you a good fallback point in the game and to know where to fall back to if you have too much junk or if you need to get to the vendor or something like that. So this is very helpful. And I also did know another map that I did find in the antenna relay where you actually go and call in supply drops with the government requisition holotape. Well, they have a map there in that location as well, and I assume you could do the same thing and perhaps mark the locations of other, I don't know, I think it's other relay stations or antenna stations or something like that. But it seems like there's multiple maps in the world. Look out for them, guys. Keep your eyes peeled. And remember, something important to know about your stash, of course, is that it is actually going to be shared between your camp, Red Rocket, and train stations. So your stash is going to be universal. You don't have to remember where you dropped, you know, your inventory, you know, some of your junk items at that train station or this train station. Your stash is shared universally between all of it. So just keep that in mind. It kind of alleviates the stress of wondering, you know, what's going to be in your stash storage box. All right. Also, this is super important. You're going to want to pick up every single weapon you find in the game world. Trust me, especially at first when you're playing through the game. So even if it's a duplicate, especially if it's a duplicate, pick up that weapon and then break it down. Because when you break down a weapon, you are granted, you know, a mod for the weapon. Of course, you're granted, you know, additional junk, parts, and stuff like that. But you are also granted that mod or attachment. Now, that mod can be, of course, attached to your weapon by going to a workbench and then attaching it. So just keep that in mind. That's one way you can actually find mods in the world, by breaking down existing weapons. Now, something I discovered on my recent playthrough with Fallout 76 was the fact that certain traps in the world including especially wooden spike traps, and these can be found on buses and elsewhere, may actually give you a disease. Now, I received a disease which, get this, gave me like 50% extra limb damage when I am attacked. That is mind-blowing. I was like, holy crap, how do I get rid of this disease? This is not good at all. So you can, of course, heal the disease with the disease cure item, which of course can be found throughout the world and then also in medical containers. Now, you are going to want to up your chances of finding medical supplies in the game world by really investing in, the perks over in the luck special ability. So consider that, because there's a lot of really cool stuff in the luck, special ability where you can actually up your chances to get, medical supplies, ammo, and stuff like that. So just consider that. Now, also, what we are taking a look at here, let me rewind that for a second, is the Tinker Workbench. Now, some of you may have heard about this, some of you may not have, but this is where you can actually craft ammunition in the game. So if you're wondering, how in the world do I get more ammo without looting people? Well, you can go ahead and craft them. You're going to require, of course, a bunch of materials, especially gunpowder, so keep that in mind. But yeah, you could craft a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool ammo at the Tinker Workbench. And then you'll eventually work your way up, excuse me, to actually making a Tinker Workbench at your own camp. So that's actually possible as well. Now, one can be found at the Gilman lumber mill, another at the Morgantown airport, which that's what I'm out here, and then another one can be found at the Cow Spots Creamery. So just keep those locations in mind if you are wanting a Tinker Bench and you can't build one just yet. So let's talk about nuclear codes. Right here in this footage, I'm actually feverishly hunting for a nuclear code because I can actually hear the blipping sound. So the blipping sound is like this sound that reminds me of aliens, when they're looking for the actual alien. All the Marines are looking for the alien. That's what it sounds like to me. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, you will be able to find, of course, these nuclear codes just by searching that area and staying within the vicinity of the blipping sound. But a lot of the times you'll find these nuclear codes on ghoul officers. They'll be wearing a communication backpack. It's going to be obvious. There's going to be like an antenna sticking out. They will look very identifiable. If you kill them, you'll likely find a nuclear code on their body. But also, you can find nuclear codes by knocking down vertibots as well. So that's another way you can actually find those nuclear codes too. All right, so moving on, let's talk about gifting weapons to your friends and item drops. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit more about loot spawn and stuff like that. So yes, you can gift your friend a weapon and items simply by dropping them. Drop them from your inventory instead of going into the trade menu. It'll save you time, and if you don't want to put a price on it, you just want to gift it to them, that is something you can do, especially if you're in a trustworthy group, of course. But, once that container is down on the ground, it's fair game, and you got to be careful about that as well. Now, next up, if your buddy does kill an enemy ahead of you, and you see your buddy loot the body, you may think, well, dang it, they got all the loot from the body, there's no more ammo or anything like that. Well, that is not going to be the case. You can actually go up to the body still and get your own loot. So just remember that as well. And, loot is going to be random. So you may not receive the same items that your buddy is going to be receiving from that, downed ghoul or what have you. So yes, let's talk about floor spawns and container spawns as well and how they work for loot, because they do work differently between the two. So let's start with containers. So for all containers in the world, loot inside of that container is instant. So for example, if your buddy already takes from a container, you can still actually loot from that container as well. This includes things like, medical containers and much more. And of course safes as well. However, if your buddy goes into a police station, for example, and grabs a sniper rifle that's out in the open from the weapon cage, for example, or items straight off the desk, those items and weapon are going to be his and his alone. So it's first come, first serve for anything sitting out in the open, it is fair game. So keep that in mind as you go. And also something else that's pretty noteworthy, of course, is if you do, and this is kind of obvious, but if you do see your buddy lock picking a safe and they actually get it open, it's going to open for you as well. You don't have to go in and lock pick it as well. So that's pretty nice. It's always wise to have someone that's like an expert lock picker on your team for sure as you venture out into the open world. Now, if you missed it, by the way, the Atomic Shop is up, and you can actually still access it even now, even though the beta is considered down. I believe you can still go in there and mess around with the Atomic Shop. Now, of course, this is where you can actually use your atoms that you have earned through challenges in-game and go ahead and grab some really cool cosmetic items. But on the other hand, you can also purchase the atoms if you want to do that for real world money, and then you can obtain, basically the items pretty much instantly. Now, the real world money is not going to be extending to anything that's pay to win, any gameplay changes or anything like that. It's only going to be cosmetics, so please do remember that. But yes, one of the coolest things from the recent discoveries through the beta was definitely, at least in my opinion, was the discovery of the ability to buy these mutations. I'm extremely curious to see where this was actually at. Again, I'll dig into it if you guys want me to, but at the same time, I also know that a lot of you guys want to discover this stuff on your own. I am absolutely the same way. I'm having a hard time even, considering looking at guides, although I will, since I know a lot of you guys want to see some really cool stuff. But yeah, I would love to be able to just explore the world naturally and stumble upon stuff on my own. Of course, there's going to be like top secret stuff in this game, and I cannot wait when launch finally comes and then we finally discover stuff. But yeah, it's cool that they've also extended the beta, so maybe we'll really be discovering stuff very, very soon here. So that could be possible as well. But guys, thank you so much for watching and all the support on the videos lately. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned here to Open World Games again for all things Fallout 76. Don't forget, smack that subscribe button. And if you are subscribed already, turn on bell notification so you can receive my videos. And remember, I'm going to be streaming this constantly out on Facebook.com/openworldvideogames. Look out for me, drop in, say hello. Would love to hang out with you guys. But guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more Fallout 76 and more open world gaming goodness. And I will see you guys back in the wasteland. Take care.